The other thing is not a big announcement. It's just something that has been particularly interesting lately. I am playing one of the most unusual characters for me in a D&D game right now. I've mentioned before that I'm in a D&D group and that we meet fairly regularly to do the whole rolling dice and telling stories thing. And I find it a very good exercise for learning characterization and story pacing and how to have stuff happen. John Rogers once said that the trick to good writing is what does my character want, why can't they have it, and why should I give a damn? And this is a great way to deal with those questions and learn how to characterize well and do stuff with that. And in that vein, I came up with an idea for a character. I've been running with it, and it's putting me significantly outside of my normal comfort zone. I am playing, hold your applause, a 12-year-old girl. No, don't click away. Hold on, let me explain. So I had kind of this fun idea of basically Little Orphan Annie, but with magic. It's a fantasy setting where you have an orphan who has been horribly mistreated by the orphan system, the orphanage system, in this particular fantasy setting, but who has discovered that she has the ability to see the weave of magic and has become a wild magic sorcerer, which, if you know D&D, those are fun because crazy stuff can happen. But one of the important things with sorcerers is their power is based on charisma, on their ability to impose their will on the universe. And charisma is taken a lot of different ways. Some people take it, and this is very common, to say that the person is very attractive, that it's very common for the bard to be both the most charismatic character and the one who's constantly trying to get a little bit of loving on. It's just a common trope. And sorcerers also tend to be very charismatic. What I decided is, the whole point of charisma is you are extremely good at manipulating other people. And I had the idea that this character is able to get what they want extremely easily, but not because they're being intentionally manipulative, but because they're cute. And people are more inclined to do whatever they ask because they find them adorable. So the whole idea is they're getting away with stuff and they don't realize they're getting away with it. And it's been really interesting to role play this. It is the first time, because I've played charismatic characters before, and it's always a little weird when you got a bunch of nerds sitting around the table for one of you to try to be pretending to be charismatic when generally you're not. It's like trying to play a character that is smarter than you actually are. It's very tough. And what I discovered, and what's been fascinating to me, is the other players are reacting to this character's charisma in real life. Like somehow this character is so appealing to their sensibilities, is so adorable that they actually actively want to support and put forward their best foot and be better for this character. It is fascinating for me because I've never seen the character's actual personability in a game like this have an effect on people in real life. It has been a very interesting character study. And it's been very helpful for me as a role player to understand this type of character better, to be able to figure out what it's like playing a very young character. I am quite excited to see what will end up happening in this setting. There's already been a couple close calls. There's a very good chance the character will not survive for incredibly long. It is D&D, World of Dangerous, and we just got to level 3. So we are very squishy and prone to misadventure. One of the other things that we just found out that actually explained why this particular party seemed to come together very naturally, and why one of the characters is particularly protective of my character. We just found out that one of the other characters is a father and has family back home. And what's really funny about this is we had a realization that in the last few campaigns we've all been running, we've had at least one character who is a dad. Like, not even just a parent, a dad specifically, which is kind of funny. Our group apparently likes that type of character a lot. And I imagine not a trend that will end quickly. I have had a couple other ideas, though, for younger characters. This is not the first child character I've played, but the other one, that campaign fell through pretty quick. And I don't know, something about that character was a little bit more like I was back then and was cathartic in a way, but wasn't that interesting in a lot of respects. Didn't have any motivation or reason to be there. We were kind of thrown into a situation where that was going to be the case. And that's a problem. Like, one thing that is very sometimes difficult to do, but it is important when you're putting together characters for a D&D campaign. They have to have a reason to be there. And this is not always easy to figure out, because very often, the first job is just a hired mission. This is something that I always feel both the players and the DM need to make an effort to get working. Because it's not easy making sure everybody stays together. But there are a couple of solutions in the campaign I'm running as a DM. One of the very first thing that happened was they all got hired by an adventuring collective, the Marquette Adventuring Collective. And so the whole idea was, oh, you guys are looking for a group of other adventurers to do the stuff with. You want to be in a group. And you're kind of hiring yourself out to a temp agency to make that happen. So, if things didn't work, you could swap it around really easily. But everyone who was coming in had a reason that they wanted to work for a group like this. And so that made a lot easier for me. I have another campaign that I hope to get started. I've talked about on these streams before. And when that gets started, I'm thinking it's going to be much more difficult tying them all together, but I have an idea for how to do it. And that's something that's very important to figure out, is why is everyone doing what they are doing? And after the first quest, are they going to keep doing it? there's a character I had a lot of trouble with on that very early when I was gaming. It was actually back in college, where I did not do a lot of gaming because I tried to be in several groups and they fell through, which happens. But I was playing a character in the Serenity universe, so based on the Firefly show and the movie Serenity. And I've heard that system has gotten really good. The early version of the system was bad. I'm just going to say it. I did not like that system at all. But I created a character that was going to kind of be the muscle, the way Jane was in the show. And I was still very much a novice. But I came across a significant problem that I had not yet come across as a gamer. And that is, my character was very much a loner. And after the initial situation where they'd been captured by slavers, and then they took over the slaver ship and escaped, and all was good, why was my character still with them? Because he should have just bounced. That's who he was. And so my solution was, I spent most of the game, like when everyone else was going off and doing stuff, I was like, I head to a bar and I get very drunk because I don't know why else I'd stay in the area even. Like, I'm not tied into these other people. My character would leave. And some interesting story stuff did happen with that guy, but for the most part, it was a fairly weak character, and I'd say that is mostly my fault. I'm not going to blame the DM on this particular incident because I created a character who didn't have a reason to be going out and being an adventurer. Like, he kind of wasn't. He was just trying to lay low most of the time, and there wasn't really a good hook for him. But that is a problem that comes up. If you have a character that doesn't have a reason to stay, you got to do a couple things. Find a good reason for them to stay, which the DM should be able to help with. Or, it's really bad, let them leave and make a new character. You can do that. It's just one of the things that it just comes up when you're trying to do storytelling and everything is being improv on the spot, which is how this stuff works. Man, this got me thinking of a lot of the stuff I've learned about characterization since that game, because I really did make a terrible character for that game. I think one of the big ones, and I was talking about this fairly recently, is you don't want your characters to have everything figured out. That's a mistake I've made even with characters that I really liked. One of my favorite D&D characters of all time was Levis. She was a fallen Aasimar ranger who was effectively a bounty hunter. She'd hunt evildoers after doing a lot of research on the situation and figuring out what was going on, and then end them. And she was fallen because she'd realized that she'd originally been getting assigned targets by an angel and had realized that those targets were not all evil, that this angel's view of what is evil was in part racially motivated. Tieflings, orcs, things like that. But this is a setting where your race doesn't determine your... Okay, that's a dangerous thing to say. In early D&D, certain fantasy races automatically were classified as evil. We're talking about monsters and like ogres and orcs and goblins and stuff like that. That has been removed. But often in these settings, you'll come across characters who hold that stigma. And so this was a setting where that stigma was being held. And from a young age, Levis was told, these people were evil because they have evil blood in them. And Levis came to learn that that was not the case. And when questioning her angel, she was effectively excommunicated. And this led to her getting basically filled with evil energy, or dark energy, I should say, because she realized this could be used as for positive uses. And her mission became take out these bounty targets that are genuinely evil, keep doing what I've been doing, but pick my own targets, and show the angels they were mistaken in their methods. And the problem I came across, this is all for a level 1 character, brand new. This is all the backstory. And the problem was, I should have started playing the character way back in the backstory. Like, this character has figured out too much about how their stuff works. Didn't mean to zoom out that much. And that's just not as interesting for a D&D campaign, because your character needs to be going through that journey. It needs to be figuring out who they are and figuring out what's going on. That's part of what's been fun about Blue, my 12-year-old sorcerer, is that she's a 12-year-old who spent her entire life in an orphanage. She doesn't know anything about herself beyond the fact that she's suddenly able to do magic. And what's going to be interesting is finding out who she grows up into, assuming she doesn't die, which could totally happen. But assuming she survives, she has a lot to grow and discover. She's going into the world with all of that. And that's part of what's exciting to me. There's also, like, one of the things we've talked about is, as a party, is how it's kind of funny how quickly you go from wherever you were in life already to very quickly leveling up and becoming more powerful. Within sometimes a year, you'll jump multiple levels and become amazing and the super-powered fantasy hero. And with Blue, it kind of makes sense because she's a kid. Kids grow very fast, and she hasn't been working with this for so long. Why are you... Oh, I see what happened. That got moved somehow. Let me fix that. Nope. There we go. So yeah, she could end up ridiculously powerful very quickly because her power is fairly new. She's only just really learned how to explore it. And because she's a child, she could grow very fast. I'm actually wondering if my DM is going to have me go through puberty, which is going to be kind of interesting. I kind of hope it happens. It'd be funny.